Hello, how you doing? So I'm at Newhaven Fort today and we're heading towards Newhaven's emergency coastal battery. So I've got a nice little hill to walk up. And don't worry, for all of you people out there who have asked me, I will do a special video on Newhaven Fort at some point. Won't be today, however. I've got a few more adventures left in my journey of you watching this today. But it's an incredible view here at Newhaven, and it's quite weird. I came through Seaford Way, and Seaford brings back a lot of bad memories for me, because when I was about 10, my parents, obviously on their amazing adventures that we used to go on, Martello Towers and all that sort of jazz, yeah, our car broke down. It was one of them times when I didn't get home till about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was only 10, so I want to say it was on a Sunday, because I think I had school the next day. So that's what Seaford reminds me of, car breaking down when I was a kid. But on a positive note, stay tuned, enjoy your history lesson, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Newhaven is a popular place to visit along the Sussex coast. But did you know that just to the west of the fort lies an almost intact gun battery? That of the Newhaven Emergency Coastal Battery. Built in 1943, its role was to protect the coast from hostile ships. The site was built in haste to help shore up Newhaven Fort's coastal defences. The guns themselves would have been exactly the same that were used to work with Newhaven Fort, that of the BL 6-inch Mark 7 gun. The battery housed 3 of these Mark 7 guns, as well as a number of auxiliary buildings located at the rear, which you will see. But the most interesting thing about the site is that the gun site in the middle has been converted into a Coast Guard lookout. Eventually, coastal artillery was finally discontinued in 1956, with the control buildings now being fully bricked up. The fact that this site still survives is a great legacy to its past because of how rare they are, shining a light on how close the threat from Nazi Germany truly was. Right, yeah, so we're here, we've made it. It wasn't difficult at all, obviously, of course it wasn't. But we're here, and as you probably may or may not be aware, we can't access any of it. And again, as I always say, sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing. In the case of today, we're just going to skim through a lot of it, because really, although there is, obviously the batteries are still here, it's quite difficult to sort of get an idea of what actually this was like, really. I mean, obviously you've got the rooms, which what you can see, but it's still quite difficult. But the point is trying to document it. I like the way somebody's tried to smash a hole through that. There you go. Mindless vandalism yet again. So it's going to get a little bit windy, but ignore that. We are right by the coast and we're very high up. So if it does, I apologise. But this is what we're doing, is we're starting, as I always do, we're starting at the furthest one first, or what I would deem as the furthest battery away first. The condition isn't bad. I mean, what's left, I'd rather, at least there is something left here, which is really the main point of what we're trying to sort of focus on today. But as you can see, the rooms themselves, I mean, it's great actually, because in theory, obviously I'm sure some of you have probably been in these when they were accessible, but I kind of like the fact that they are sealed up, because really that means that hopefully there'll be a little bit more preservation here rather than nothing at all. And yeah, walk down this side again. Really sorry for the wind. But yeah, so the layout of all three guns is basically the same, except for, which I will show you, the Coast Guard's gun battery. The placement is there, but interestingly enough, you'll see it, they've placed their lookout tower and everything else above what probably would have been the control room of the gun battery, or one of the control rooms. But like I said, it's all exactly the same. I mean, extremely well built, really, when you consider the fact of this amazing amount of thick concrete that is here. You can imagine in World War II that this would have been a perfect spot to sort of have a gun battery. If you're unfamiliar, by the way, I did a similar one at Pet Level in East Sussex as well. So this is our second East Sussex one, our emergency coastal battery. Yes, had to think then. We'll head back up again. So you get to have a wonderful little look. Again, there's really nothing here. I mean, obviously you can see the sort of shell lockers completely have seen better days with rust. You know, the corrosion from the outside, etc, etc. But the view, as you can probably imagine, is spectacular. It's got quite a cavernous effect. My voice is bouncing off the walls. So is the wind. So we'll let down there one more time, and then we'll head to the other two. Like I said, this one and the one on the far end are practically identical. And then, as you can see, you've got the Coast Guard over there, who's obviously clearly busy doing their own thing. And obviously that is their lookout tower standing on probably one of these original control rooms. So there you go. Yeah, let's do our standing up onto the actual gun battery itself. You get a really amazing perspective now. Excuse the wind. Look at that beautiful sea today. I'll tell you what, regardless of the wind, it's a beautiful day today. Over there is Seaford, and then as you look down there, well, you can't really see anything, but that would be towards Brighton, Worthing, and then heading along the West Sussex coast. So there you go, it's our first gun battery done. Let's have a quick one more look. There you go. Right, done. On to the next one. Right, so we're just heading to the second battery now, which is the central one. Again, as you can see, got the Coast Guard, and I'll sort of explain what I mean by all that in a minute. You've got a wonderful little viewpoint here, but obviously the main emplacement is still here, which is great. Again, slightly different layout, but that's because it's potentially the central one. Obviously you've got to imagine that they've got to build it because of the terrain. Now, what you don't know is that, unless you're familiar, the actual cliff edge and everything is very sunken and depressed. Kind of one of them things that eventually, over a matter of time, it will probably sink even more. But there you go. I'll take you down here to the, as per usual, the narrowest of steps ever. But it takes you and it shows you this. So, it tells you about Castle Hill. There you go. Another bit of extra history for you. About Castle Hill, what it might have looked like during the Iron Age. Now it's Newhaven Fort. Oh, actually, here we go. So that's a great example of what we're sort of talking about with, although it's very beautiful, obviously there's erosion as well, and they are sort of talking about it being signs of Iron Age activity on Castle Hill. And then obviously our famous Newhaven Fort itself, which again, like I said, I'll do a special video on for another time. It's a place like this really that I do feel genuinely confident that, obviously I've been here numerous amounts of times, even as a child, that I know that I will probably return at some point again, do some more videos around this area. For today, this is the only one that I'm going to do. But let's have a look more importantly at what we've got here. So obviously you saw the battery. We're going to look down. I'm assuming this might have been probably one of the magazines. Ammunition stores. I'm assuming this one might have been. I could be wrong. Again, in remarkable condition considering. And we'll head down. And what I'll do is I'll take you up to the Coast Guard part. As you can see on this one, they've sealed it up. It looks deceptive that you could open it, but I assure you, you can't. Strange with that one how they've sealed that one, and yet everything else in terms of they put a door there and then the rest of them they haven't. I wonder if that's because they want to try and keep one open for people if they want to be nosy. And then you can see, obviously all this part here is still part of the central battery. And then what's really interesting is you can see within that all of that is now a Coast Guard part. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, brilliant. It does say obviously at some point you can actually go in and see the Coast Guard. It actually does say it on the opposite side, obviously because of the dreaded C word. We can't really, but then it also actually says about, well, exactly what I said about stay away from the cliff's edges. It is not the most safest place when you're up there. But who doesn't walk along a cliff's edge? Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. I do feel like you have to be extremely unlucky if all of a sudden the cliff does collapse. But it happens, doesn't it? Enough about me moaning about health and safety. Come on, jeez. Right, let's head back up. Right, so you can see nice bit of drainage going on. Nice bit of drainage. Cool. We're picking them out today, aren't we? The detail. But yeah, obviously this is a central one. Different design to the other two. It'll be interesting actually when you go see the next one down. You'll notice that it's almost, well, I'd say it's almost identical to the furthest one away. For all of you who've watched the pet level emergency coastal battery one, you'll know that that is even more, it's very different to this one. But again, you have to almost mould the battery around the geology and everything that you have. And obviously on pet level that was on a rock. That was actually on a rock formation. I'm sure you've seen that video already, so with the observation tower that would have been there, which obviously, you know, has been replaced here. It's brilliant, isn't it though? In fact, we've still got this amazing bit of history that is obviously different to Newhaven Fort, and I do wonder how many people have actually gone to Newhaven Fort just there and completely ignored this coastal battery. So I'd be really interested if anybody out there has been to Newhaven Fort but not been here and realised that it's literally like there. You literally can walk it. Down there is the Lunette battery, which I've obviously done a video on as well. So again, go to previous, and then I did the Seaplane factory. I've done Tide Mills, and I've also done Chaley Grange, which was the abandoned hospital for kids. So I've done it all around here, almost anyway, apart from the obvious thing, the elephant in the room. Let's head back, let's do our final one. Stay with me. Right, so here I am, the third battery for you, which is probably the best one, I'd say, condition wise. Debate with me what you will with that one, but as you can see it's still fairly good condition. And as we walk down we can see that again, same principle, the fact that it's all completely sort of boarded up, magazines, and you've got your shell lockers which obviously are sort of very corroded, very rusty, but again that's quite common with stuff like this. In fact, sometimes it's rare that you can actually even see the frames of these in good condition. So, you know, it's pretty typical of what we've seen already. Again, I'm sure some of you who have probably visited this place, you know, on a fair few occasions will probably remember it being in a better condition. Obviously remember it not too long ago. I say not too long ago, probably about 10 years ago I'd like to say, you would have been able to sort of at least entered a couple of these. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was too long ago. Obviously when you get as old as me, you know, you start worrying about stuff, don't you, and sort of go, oh my God, this feels like it's a decade, Jesus. But yeah, like I said, the condition's fairly good. As you can see, the amazing concrete, just thick concrete, isn't it really? And again, same layout. But I mean, it was extensive. When you just think that obviously you've got this coast. I mean, the other thing you've got to take into consideration with this, you've got this coastal battery here, but then you've also got Newhaven Fort itself providing, obviously, I can't think. Firing, guns, fire, bang. Jeez, oh my God, sorry about that. You know what I mean. It happens, everybody. The brain does go. Forgive me on that, it's quite funny. Oh dear, can't think. But yeah, so like I said, so you've got Newhaven Fort as well, which is obviously there. This obviously would have all worked in conjunction. Yeah, here we are. So we just, in a strange way, for some of you, this could be quite boring. But for others, you might be like, well, at least it's here. And if it provides you a place that you can go out and explore, and as I always say, places like this, if you have a family, you can come here and you're not breaking any rules, you're exploring and you're making memories. And I always say that memories are important these days. You know, we only live once. And if you can come to a place like this, and even though it might be locked or whatever, you can come here and you can make incredible memories for yourself. You can tell the kids, you can say, God, look, this used to be for World War II, to shoot out right across to the sea. And, you know, really does provide that amazing bit of imagination that I know I used to have when my parents would take me to the exact same places like this. You know, even if we went to Scotland or went to Wales or even Cornwall. Obviously my memory as a child is slightly blurred, but I do remember having that love for history. And it was because of my parents who'd inspired me to do that, being urban explorers themselves when they were younger as well, and giving me that sort of encouragement on top of my music career, which again, like I said, I was very fortunate to have. But it opportunes the fact that if I can make videos like this, and it gives you an encouragement, if you've never been here before and you do fancy a trip down to the Sussex coast, you can say, do you know what I did today? I went to this amazing coastal battery. It was amazing. I loved it. I took my family and it was just brilliant, you know. And, or you can even take your girlfriend or your boyfriend, doesn't matter. I'm not sure it'd be made for a great first date unless you're total geeky history lovers, and that would be an amazing date, wouldn't it? But for everybody else, the casual people among us, it's just a fantastic place. And because, as I've said, you've got Newhaven Fort, add this on top and you've got the beautiful sort of extra bits that you can discover just walking along the coast. There you go. So this was Newhaven's Coastal Emergency Battery. Really hope you enjoyed it. And as I walk up the stairs to what would have been, like we said, the gun facing out onto the sea, and what an amazing open view we have here. What an incredible thing to behold. Isn't it amazing? There you go. And ironically, the wind starts to die down now. It's been, again, I can't apologise for the wind. I can't do much about it, can I? But hopefully it doesn't come out too much. But as I stand here, as I lament, I think to myself how incredible this history is. And like we said, if we put it into context, so the second gun battery is obviously where the coastal tower is, which would have been obviously part of the viewpoint. Oh my God, Dan, come on now. and then the battery behind it. Yeah, can you just forgive me today that for some strange reason my brain is not observation post. There we go. If you can forgive me a little bit, we're all good. There is down below, obviously we need to mention that there's an observation post as well. There's other bits, but again, that really I want to sort of tie that more into Newhaven Fort when I do a special video on that. But there you go. For now, any more words of Phoenix history? Thank you so much for coming along with me. Thank you for being patient, hopefully. I did try to make this a mini video, but it might have carried on a little bit because I do encourage you all to go out there and explore, don't I? But hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Any more words of Phoenix history, because history matters. It really does. Even on something that may not be as accessible, it's still there. It still makes some good memories. Stay safe no matter what you're doing. I'll see you all very soon. Goodbye for now. Kapow.